So with this, I'll show you how to do skies. And I told you about the erasing part. I want to show you the importance of that though. So on the eraser, I'm going to take my fingers, not totally clean, a little dirty from like the last art class, and I'll just tap the paper like, okay, so I tapped it, still looks clean, more or less. Then I'll take the little pad of paper, dip it right in the powder graphite, like this. Then here's the important part, and write this down. Make sure you put this on like a blank piece of paper like that, with your fingers flat like this. And then I want you to use a scumbling pattern, so most of it comes off. So it should be smudged. You should be able to see your fingerprints kind of like this. Okay, so then on this page, this side of the paper, I did my fingerprints. So take a look at this, watch the screen here, show you how terrifying this is. If I take this, I like start putting the fingers on it on there, every single one of my fingerprints shows up. It's like CSI or something. So I want you to be nervous about how much you're erasing. So it's like testing for fingerprints. So even if you just touch it like this, you'll be able to see all those fingerprints. So it's a little bit nervous. I mean, I suppose if this was in your sky, you could turn those into cute little birds. I'll turn one into a bird. Little beak, little feathers, and little claws. But the question is, like, how many birds do you want in your sky? Probably not that many. Okay. Now, I didn't erase this. Should be pretty good overall, though. There we go. All right, so when you first start erasing, or you're already done erasing, you start blending. Here's another important part. So watch this. You want to start blending halfway on the paper, halfway off the paper. Halfway on, halfway off. And then what I'll do, and then make sure you guys are watching this part. This is one of the big ones here. I'm going to take my fingers, put them flat down on the paper, and then I'll use a scumbling technique. So watch this. It's like a small star. Little small star. All the way across. Kind of like I showed you before with the, in the sketch. But now it's a little more important. And once again, if you use your fingertips, you're not going to have a smooth blend. So you have to use the palm of your hand, more or less. And I'll just keep going side to side, like a typewriter, or a keyboard. So when you're blending this in, don't go up and down or skip around a little bit. You want to go just straight across. Any little marks you have on the paper can turn into clouds. Don't panic too much. Okay, that's a base coat so far. So I got a little darker on the top, a little lighter on the bottom. Now here's the other big thing that people make a mistake on. So watch this, watch your eyes up here on the computer screen. Let's say if I need more graphite down here. Even if you need it on the bottom, you still need to start way back up at the top again. So I got the powder graphite, I wiped it off again, then I have to go back up here. Even though I want to do this area down here, I still have to get this. So it's a smooth transition. Otherwise, you'll have this like big, dark blob. And I'll make this a little darker so you can see it on the screen. Simple, flat lines. In your sketchbooks, I'd like you guys to go ahead and try this. Use the side of the sketchbook though. I wouldn't go vertical so you have more room for sky. Do the entire page with just a sky, no horizon. And scumbling, going back and forth. All right, so I'm starting to tone the paper. I'm starting to get there. I'll dip it again. I'll put it back in the powder graphite. And by the way, I'm nervous about this. It's like when I back in the old days, we used to teach art like in a classroom. And when I have TAs, I just make my TAs kind of like walk kind of fast around the class and then warn me when somebody's like going way too dark. They're like, Stevens, the unicorn table, they're going too dark. I run over there and try to save it. All right, so super slow, super simple. And that's gonna be one of the harder parts of your drawing, to make a nice gradient where it's not too dark. Okay. And then I'll map out where the horizon is so you can see the variety. So the horizon is going to be right about here in this drawing. I want you to be able to see the difference between like the light and dark. So this is white down here. So you can see how it's, darker than white, but still pretty light. I should make a t-shirt out of that. Darker than white, but pretty darn light. Okay. That's a gradient. I'll give you guys 8 seconds to finish that. Kind of kidding, kind of not. I know you guys aren't going to be finished with it. Might take you a couple different tries to get it smooth like this. And if it's not totally smooth, don't worry about it. Your sketchbook paper is not as good as your final paper. Thank goodness. Okay. Go ahead and look back up here again. Need your attention. Attention, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I'm going to show you some bad ways to do this. I shouldn't put my fingerprints on this much. All right. Pencils down, weapons down. Make sure you guys are looking up here. Okay, so watch this. Now, I'll show you a couple different things you don't want to do. I got powder graphite right here, and I didn't wipe it off at all. When I go on here, it's just going to be dark smudge, and I went back and forth. Now, this is almost impossible to smooth out. It's going to be really, really, really hard. So the important thing is, remember the scumbling. It's like this, flat. If you go like this, go back and forth, every time you do that, it's going to create streaks where you can see where your fingers were.